Imagine a city built on water, a shimmering jewel in the heart of a vast lake. This was Tenochtitlan, the magnificent capital of the Aztec Empire. Its markets overflowed with goods from across Mesoamerica. Its temples reached for the heavens, and its canals served as bustling avenues. For 2 centuries, it was the center of a powerful civilization, a testament to human ingenuity and faith. But in the year 1519, strange omens began to appear in the skies and waters, heralding a change that no one could have predicted. From across the great eastern sea, ships larger than mountains arrived. Aboard were men unlike any the Aztecs had ever seen, clad in shining metal, with hair like the sun and beards that covered their faces. They were the Spanish conquistadors, led by Hernan Cortes. The Aztec Emperor Moctezuma II watched their approach with a mix of curiosity and dread. Ancient prophecies spoke of a feathered serpent god, Quetzalcoatl, who had promised to return from the east. Could these strangers be gods, or were they something else entirely? Uncertain, Moctezuma welcomed the Spanish into his city. He housed them in a lavish palace, showered them with gifts of gold, turquoise, and intricate featherwork. He hoped to understand them, perhaps even appease them. The Spanish, however, saw not diplomacy, but weakness. For them, the gold was not a sacred offering, but a treasure to be claimed. This was the first of many profound cultural misunderstandings. The Aztecs viewed the world through a spiritual lens, where gods and omens dictated fate. The Spanish saw a world of opportunity, resources to be extracted, and souls to be converted to their own faith. Their goals were fundamentally incompatible. Cortes, sensing his precarious position with only a few hundred soldiers amidst the city of over 200,000, made a daring move. He placed Moctezuma under house arrest within his own palace, effectively making the emperor a puppet ruler. The Aztec nobility was stunned, the people confused. Their revered leader, a semi-divine figure, was now a prisoner in his own home. Tensions in the city simmered, a pot of water slowly, dangerously, coming to a boil. The breaking point came when Cortes had to leave the city to deal with a rival Spanish force on the coast. He left his hot-headed lieutenant, Pedro de Alvarado, in charge. During the festival of Toxcatl, one of the most important ceremonies in the Aztec calendar, thousands of unarmed nobles, priests, and warriors gathered in the courtyard of the great temple to dance and sing. Alvarado, fearing a planned uprising, saw a threat. He sealed the exits and ordered his men to attack. The result was a brutal massacre. Unarmed men, women, and children were cut down without mercy. The sacred courtyard ran red with blood. When news of the slaughter spread through the city, the people's grief and confusion turned to white-hot rage. The truce was broken. The Spanish were no longer guests, or even gods. They were murderers. The Aztecs rose up as one, and when Cortes returned, he found Tenochtitlan transformed into a war zone. The conquistadors were now the prisoners, trapped in their palace, besieged by a furious city. In the shouts, the captive Emperor Moctezuma was sent to the balcony to pacify his people. But his authority was gone. He was seen as a traitor, a mouthpiece for the invaders. The crowd unleashed a volley of stones and arrows. Moctezuma was struck and died shortly after, his reign ending not in glory, but in tragedy and shame. With their puppet gone and supplies dwindling, the Spanish knew they had to escape. Their flight took place on a dark, rainy night, which would forever be known as La Noche Triste, the Night of Sorrows. Burdened with stolen gold, the Spanish tried to sneak out of the city across one of its causeways, but they were discovered. Aztec warriors swarmed them from all sides, attacking from canoes and on foot. The narrow causeway became a death. Hundreds of Spanish soldiers and thousands of their native allies were killed, dragged from the causeways and drowned by the weight of the gold they refused to abandon. Cortes himself barely escaped, and it is said that he wept beneath a tree for the loss of his men and his fortune. The survivors limped back to the friendly territory of Tlaxcala, their native allies who despised the Aztecs. They were beaten, but not defeated, and they had left behind a silent, invisible killer that would prove more devastating than any sword or cannon. Smallpox, the disease to which the native population had no immunity, swept through Tenochtitlan like a wildfire. It ravaged the city, killing a third or more of its inhabitants within months. It struck down warriors, leaders, and commoners alike, including the new emperor who had been chosen to lead the resistance. The vibrant, bustling city became a place of death and despair, its people too sick to even bury their dead. Weakened by disease and internal division, Tenochtitlan was vulnerable. Court, having regrouped and bolstered his forces with more native allies, returned. This time, he would not be caught inside the city. He launched a systematic siege. He had special ships built to control the lake, cutting off all food and fresh water from the island capital. For 80 days, the Aztecs endured unimaginable suffering. They starved. They drank salty water. They fought with a ferocity born of desperation, defending every street, every house, every canal. The new, young Emperor Cuauhtémoc led the defense with incredible courage, refusing to surrender even as his city crumbled around him. But courage could not defeat steel, cannons, and starvation. On August 13, 1521, after a final, bloody battle in the district of Tlatelolco, the last pockets of resistance were crushed. Cuauhtémoc was captured while trying to escape in a canoe. With his capture, the defense of Tenochtitlan ended. The glorious city, the pride of the Aztec world, had fallen. What followed was the systematic destruction of a civilization. The Spanish tore down the temples and pyramids, using the stones to build their own churches and palaces. They filled in the canals, erasing the city's unique character. On the ruins of the Aztec capital, they built Mexico City, the new center of power for the Spanish Empire in the Americas. The legacy of Tenochtitlan now lies buried beneath a modern metropolis. Its story, a tragic epic of encounter, conflict, and collapse. It serves as a powerful reminder of how quickly a world can be lost, and how the echoes of that loss can still be heard centuries later. Thank you for watching. If you found this story moving, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more journeys into the past.